Hi, this is Balford Pantella, and this is my wife Jeannie, and I want to welcome you to Homeowners Tips and Tricks. Today we're going to show you how to install a sub pump efficiently and at very low cost to you.
Don't go away, we'll be right back.
Prepare for launch. 3, 2, 1.
Hi, welcome back. If this is the first time you were here with our website, okay, what I'd like you to do is subscribe and hit the bell, and don't go away. We have some special tips we like to show you.
The next thing we're going to need to set this up to support this sump pump is 2 bricks in the bottom. Then we're going to need some adapters and some PVC pipe and some connectors, which you'll see in a moment.
Hi, right now what we're going to do is go over some of the basic tools you're going to need to do this job. You only need about 4 or 5 items. It's relatively simple. You need a basic saw for cutting the PVC. I use WD-40 to help lubricate the fittings to make it easier. You need a tape measure, simply so you know what you're doing as far as installing the PVC piping. You need 2 screwdrivers. You need a Phillips head and you need a regular. I have a reversible. Okay, you can buy one of these or you can have 2 different screwdrivers. A lot of people like to use PVC cement to seal the joints. Okay, that's the option. You have to decide what you want to do. Now the biggest problem that people run into is they decide to change the sub pump when it's too late. Okay, very few people wake up on a great weekend and say, I think I want to change the sub pump today. It usually doesn't happen. When they find out is in the middle of a rainstorm, when there's like 2 inches of water coming down, and all of a sudden they don't hear that motor running anymore. Then they've got a problem. Well, you have 2 options. Okay, you can run down to the basement. You can sit there and put your hand in. Now, this is the size of a basin that holds a sub pump. I could sit and tell you it holds 20 gallons. I could sit and tell you it holds 30 gallons. I'm just giving you numbers. This is a visual demonstration. When your sub pump fails, this fills up in about 20 minutes. So 20 minutes after you realize what happened, this is how much water just went into your basement floor. 20 minutes later, and so on, until you solve the problem. Now, if you do what I tell you to do, and I mean you do everything I tell you to do, you follow my tips and tricks, you could change that sub pump in about 10 minutes. Now let me show you how to do it, and let me explain to you what I'm talking about. The first thing you do, and real quick, just for sake of time and demonstration, I'm going to put everything together right here on the table. Then after I finish, we're going to stop for a minute. I'm going to bring all the material around and I'm going to actually show you how to install it in the basin itself so you have a better visual idea. But let's start with this. Okay, first we have 2 bricks. Okay, the purpose of the bricks. This is a major tip I want you to remember. The sub pump can sit 2 ways. It can sit flush on the bottom of the basin, or you can add a couple of bricks and raise it about 2 or 3 inches. The purpose of the bricks, when the water comes in to the house, into your sub pump, a lot of people don't realize this, but this is considered category 2 water. Now I am a licensed public adjuster, and if you have any questions as to what I'm talking about during the course of this video, send me a comment or an email and I will get back to you. But for sake of your finances, okay, the biggest tip is to put it up on these bricks. Why? Because when the water hits, it has a percentage of sediment and dirt, animal, whatever. I mean, it's filtering through the ground to your basement. So it's already gone about 4 or 5 feet or deeper before it gets to your sub pump. The purpose of the bricks, the sediment hits, stays in the bottom. The only thing that goes into the impellers is the water. What this does is two things, okay? Instead of your sub pump burning out in 3 months, you may get another year out of it, okay? It does another thing, and I'm going to explain to you in a minute what the float's about as far as saving money. But we're going to go one step at a time, all right? You have it on the bricks. Now, this is crucial. You need to know what size PVC piping you have, okay? If you look right here, this says 1.5. That means this is 1.5 inch PVC. Now, the sub pump that I'm using here, for years I worked with HUD, and for 3.5 years I did homeowner inspections, and this is the only sub pump that I ever used. And in the 3.5 years that I was an inspector for HUD, I never had to once go back and change one of these out. And I think I changed maybe 15 or 20 of these in the 3.5 years I was doing home inspections. So the couplings are important. Now if you look at these, this is 1.25 inches. This is 1.5 inches. Okay? It's important to know the size of your PVC, the piping that's going into your sub pump, and it should be labeled right on the PVC piping. This particular model holds 1.5 inches. Alright, so the 1.25 inches goes here. You very simply put it in, you screw in, that's good, Jeannie, it's good. Screw into the adapter, and you place your PVC piping right inside there. Boom. Just like that. Now, let me show you. Here's the basin. This is what's in the ground. Up to here, your PVC piping is going to go into the sub pump, and it's going to be roughly this high out of the basin. The reason for this is when you go to change out your sub pump, you simply take the coupling, take a little WD-40, spray it on the coupling, okay, and it makes it easier for you to slip it on. Okay, this simply slips on like this. The other PVC pipe from your existing that's tying into it simply ties in like this, and you're done. You just changed out your sub pump. That's about 10 minutes worth of time. Now, there's another tip I want to show you that's crucial. Okay, and that deals with the float. A lot of times, people have a tendency to call in contractors because they don't know anything about the float. This is the biggest reason why people lose out, right here. Okay, if you notice, you see a Phillips head attachment. Let me undo this and get it out of the way. Okay, you see a Phillips head attachment right there. Okay, what happens is you just simply undo that screw, and you have the option to move this float either in or extend it out further. That's entirely up to you. The purpose of the float, and this is a tip, the further out the float is, but you do not want the float to touch the side of the basin. The less time your sub pump engages, the less electricity you use up. So adjust your float according to the diameter of your basin, and you will save money, and you will give your sub pump a longer lifespan. Now, we'll be right back. I'm going to move everything around to the front and show you the actual installation. Don't go away. Okay, let's get right to the demonstration. All right?
I'm good.
The very first thing we're going to do is we're going to put in the bricks. Now remember, this is the basin. This is already in the ground. This is the ground right here where my hand is going. You got to keep that in mind. This thing is holding a lot of water. When that sub pump fails, you need to replace this fast. Now the one thing I didn't mention earlier, which is crucial, whatever sub pump you buy, make sure you buy 2 of them. Without the backup, everything I'm showing you is no good whatsoever. Okay, but if that one goes, you take it out the way I showed you, you put the new one in the way I showed you, and you just changed out an entire sub pump in 10 minutes time. Now this is how it's done. You take your 2 bricks, set them aside. No special order, you just want to put them in there so you raise the sub pump. Then you take your fitting, screw your fitting right on to the sub pump. Now remember, what we're using is 1.5 inches. Your PVC line will say the same thing somewhere on your pipe, 1.5 1.5 inches, or it'll say 1.25, which is 1.25 inches. Okay, now the next thing you do is you make sure the float is where you want it. Okay, so you set it down here on the bricks and you check the float. All right, here it's touching. We don't want that. We want to bring it in a little further. Okay, now I'm about 1/4 inch off. It's a little too much. I'm going to bring it right there. Now, if you look at that, I'm about 1 inch. That's what you want. What you have now is free play of the float. That's the extension. That's as far as you can go. This will save you time on your sub pump, and it will save you cost with your electric. So now that you have that set, what you do is tighten that fitting, and you're good to go. The next thing you do is put in your PVC pipe. Now, like I said, you have the option to go with cement or just put it in there. What you attach from this point on is going to be mounted to either joists or walls, so it's not going to pop or go anywhere. But what you want to do is firmly secure this in. Okay? And that's what you want. Now, this is the biggest tip of the day, and this is what makes this job so efficient. Where you cut it off, you get the coupling. Rubber boot, stick the rubber boot right on this side. You have the fittings and the PVC that's coming out of the wall to the sub pump. You just simply connect it from the other side and you're done. Now, this is your complete installation, and this you can do relatively easy in about 10 minutes. Now, something that's important, like I said earlier, I'm a licensed public adjuster in the state of New Jersey. A lot of people do not understand the type of coverage necessary for a sub pump. 99% of your policies do not cover sub pumps. Okay, there's a process that needs to be taken place. Okay, if you're interested or you have any questions in regards to this video, in installing the sub pump, or when it comes to your homeowner's policy as a public adjuster, send me a comment, send me an email, hit subscribe. Okay, this is our finished product, but I didn't explain to you the reason why we have the coupling at this height. Okay, there's a special reason for this. Remember, this is where the sub base is sitting. This is the ground. Okay, the way your cut sits, you're roughly 3 feet off the ground. Now, in a flood, when you realize you have a problem, you're already probably in about 1 inch or 2 of water. You don't want to have to get down on your hands and knees and change this out. If you install this the way I told you to do, you can stand up, undo the coupling, pull everything apart, take the sub pump out, turn it upside down, drain all the water, disconnect this connection, put the new sub pump on, put the new sub pump in, reconnect to your old PVC piping, and you're done. Your feet are the only thing that gets wet. Your knees don't get wet. You're not up to here in water, class 2 water, which by the way, like I said, I'm a public adjuster. I can explain to you what I'm talking about. It's not clear rainwater. And that's pretty much everything, guys. I'm looking forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you for spending this time with us today. We have listed below on our blog spot or on the YouTube video description our recommended parts for installing your sump pump and all the parts you'll need. Please check back to see how we can help you in further ways in the future. Thank you for tuning in.